It's a new era for this team in a lot of ways. We've made the playoffs, we haven't had much playoff success, and it's led to the point where, combined with the fact that nobody wants to resign, and to that point, it was brought up in the comments, and to be honest, I think this might be the reason behind it. I'm not sure. I need to do, a little bit of testing in the background. But when I made this team, I don't think I maxed out all of the prestige levels, and maybe that is having a background effect, even though owner mode's off on this team, being a place where players want to resign. There is a decent chance that that is the case. If that's not the case, then yeah, the mode's a little bit bugged, in my opinion. But regardless, a quick look at the lines, a quick look at the team, and how we're shaping up, at least to start this season. The top line, pretty well established at this point, although certain players really do need to step up. But then you look at the youth. Samard, Kostopoulos, Cato, Ritchie, and of course on defense, it's pretty damn new. Melnyk, Stamkos, and Long all starting for the first time this season. We do have depth that we can rely upon if we need to. Jamie Doughty's starting in the AHL. Jovanovski's starting in the AHL. Even Len Konopka, who would be, well, I guess, a better alternative to Nick Ritchie if he doesn't quite work out. I don't know how this is going to go, but it is worth shaking things up, running with the youth, and seeing how they do. I mean, if you think about it, it really can't hurt much more. I mean, this series, it's weird. The series hasn't exactly played out the way that I thought it would. We've struggled in draft glories in the past, although, again, this series has been a little bit different this year because of the new line chem, although, a lot of people are doubting whether or not how effective that is or not, because we've had those moments already where one of a very thumbs up comment. I'm not taking shots at you, by the way. It's cool. It is what it is. But one of the more liked comments at one point was like, I don't care what the chemistry number says. So it's like, well, do we put stock into that or do we not? But then again, you factor in the whole re-sign potential bug. It's prevented this from going down in a successful way thus far. But we still have time, I would say. Now, you get a look at the grades for this season. It's not amazing. It's not bad either, though. Of course, the Philippi Daig era has begun in goal. The two big losses from last season, losing a Finneganov on defense because we simply couldn't afford to pay him. If we moved out Doughty, we could have afforded to pay him, but that, again, still would have been our third defenseman who was making over $10 million. It's not a good recipe for success. And then again, the change in goaltending with Astel's gone. It's Grosek and Daig as the 1-2 punch this season. Hopefully we can get some reliable goaltending. That would be great. Don't know if I'm holding my breath on that one, though. So we shall sim, hopefully, the entire season today. That would be good. We are very much at the point, 6 goals against in our first game. We are very much at the point where it's, about playoff success or bust, as we will get a look at the draft class. And actually, that brings me to the point of scouting. Again, manual scouting still a little bit broken. I could be a little bit more hands-on with this, I'll admit that. And as it is, they made that adjustment this year where, auto scouting isn't as effective. And I'm cool with that. It's fine. You should have to be a bit more hands-on. But that bug is still in the game where you can assign it to scout and it'll still glitch out. So you factor that in with me having to take a bit of more hands-on approach. Just it's probably more trouble than it's worth. Because at the end of the day, I really don't think being more hands-on with the scouting is going to have screwed me out of that many players, if any, throughout the course of this series. Because for the most part, draft quality hasn't been great. And then you also factor in the extreme troubles that I'm having, at least. I don't know, maybe it's just my fault, maybe I suck. But, not seeing medium top 6 forwards and medium top 4 defensemen develop, and then still having the continued issues where low top 6 and low top 4 are fucking useless. Again, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe, maybe I just should stick to the roster editing side more than actually playing franchise at this point. That's right. I still got a little bit of sass in me. But, yeah, I don't know. It's all been so much fun watching pretty much everything that could go wrong for us in terms of building this team successfully actually go wrong for us. Again, some people are on the side of, well, that's just because it's more difficult this year. Other people are on the side of, and that's because some things are broken, and this mode should be a little bit better if they could just fix a couple of things. Regardless of what side you're on, the end result's the same. We haven't won anything yet. A very hot start to the month or a very hot start to the season in that first month was very quickly overshadowed by an absolutely brutal November. So we're at 10-10-4 as of December 1st. Currently in 5th place in the division, well behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. So a quick look at the team here. Appleby continues to be ridiculous. Ridiculous. One of the best playmakers, I think, best pure playmakers I've ever seen. Like, he doesn't score goals. Just purely assists. Grigorenko is doing very well. That's back to what we'd kind of expect from Grigorenko. 24 points in 24 games. I mean, you look last year, he's dead on for 30 goals. Guaranteed. It's just, can he get the assists up there? And you look right now, as it is, he only has 5 power play points, and 3 of them are goals. Of course, in the playoffs last year, he fucking disappeared, which is why I said I was going to get rid of him. Might still, at a certain point. And then Alex Holtz is our leading point getter right now with 30 points in 24 games. Okay, the Simard experiment, not quite working out thus far, but hey, let the kids play, right? How's that, for those people who subscribe to that, how's that working out for us so far? Simard has 5 points. Joachim Kamel still doing extremely well, which isn't surprising, although the power play points are extremely low. So he's just doing really well at even strength. And Nasir Kostopoulos with 11 points, not too bad. And then the third line, Paul Cato, 11 points. You have 21 for Boris Nazarov and 7 for Nick Ritchie. Right. Well, easy change here. Swap Cato and Simard, and we'll stick with that for the moment. And a fourth line, Timofey Kavanov with only 5 points. Isaac Benson with 12 and 7 for Korobov. The reason why that can be extremely disappointing is because this is the power play setup. And all 3 members of the fourth line are on the power play to give them the proper amount of time still. The only ones not on the power play are the young 4 on the wings on the second and third line. Defensively, Montgomery, 19 points, pretty damn good. 17 for Trafford. Melnick and Stewart, a bit meh. Stamkos and Long, also a bit meh. I'm very intrigued to see what our penalty kill is. 905 for Daig, which is honestly better than I thought it would be. Although it's been like a pure tandem between he and Grosek. Grosek not exactly doing all that well. Doughty killing it in the AHL like you would expect, as is Rudy Jovanovski, because again, they are probably too good for that league. But, we're going to stick with it because I wouldn't want to go with any line changes, right? I wouldn't want to do that. When do I ever change the line? Stick with the plan, right? Why make adjustments if something's not working and we're losing games? Stick with the plan, right? We'll see how it works for us throughout December. Maybe it does work out. Maybe it doesn't. We won our first 2 games of the month, but we have a long way to go. We'll see how this plays out for us. And so far, so good. So there you go. Maybe, see, I wasn't being sarcastic earlier. Although, again, strong opening month, second month, meh. This month's been pretty good so far. But we'll see, like I said, where we end up. We're currently in second place in the division. So, funny enough, line changes if something isn't working, we make the playoffs. Run with the youth, we make the playoffs. Probably. At this pace, we're going to make the playoffs. So I'll be intrigued to see if we can actually win in the playoffs consistently with this attempted strategy. And again, if we can't, Jovanovski's there, Doughty's there, we do have call-up options. But we're up to 19, 12, and 4, so we are proving to be a relatively streaky team where it's just good month, bad month, good month. Hopefully, we're able to break that streak throughout January. 20, 13, and 4. At this point in the season, 5 points back of the Lightning, 2 points back of the Montreal Canadiens. It's a very close division. The Ottawa Senators currently 10 points out of a playoff spot. That is not an insurmountable total. So a quick look again. We're not going to go through every player. I just want to look at the grand scheme of things here, where Alex Holtz leading the way, Kamel doing extremely well for himself. The power play doesn't appear to be as efficient as it was. At least that top unit you'd think would be better. Grigorenko, 21 goals in 37 games. Secondary scoring, I mean, Cato's up to 18 points. That's that change what the second and third line appears to be doing pretty damn well. But maybe we should mix up the power play just a little bit. Although you'd think that top unit would be able to be a little bit better. So Daig's doing very well. Dominic Grosick is not. He is not. He has been pretty bad. I feel like that's fair to say. So let's go to the power play here. I'm not really sure how I'd want to change this. Because again, I can look at these point totals, but then, you know, again, you factor it in like, oh, okay, well, people just aren't scoring. So, you know, let's do this. We'll have no natural defenseman on that top power play unit. But screw it. Like I said, people are scoring. It's just, for the most part, not on the power play. So we'll make that change and see if that can get things going for us. So we will continue to march on here through January. And will it be another hot and cold kind of month for us? Or are we going to continue to push towards perhaps claiming that top spot in the division? I mean, it's going to be tough to catch Tampa. We're only 5 points back. Again, a long, long way to go in this season. But right now, I mean, we've scored 8 goals twice in 4 games. We're on a pretty damn good run of form. The offense is there right now. Again, whether or not it's happening on the power play, I mean, who knows? Maybe things are going to be looking a little bit better in terms of power play points, but there's no doubt, like, our offense can put up points. Can they do that in the playoffs? Again, we'll see. They've had their moments of not. Defensively, we have slipped up over the last 3 games, make it 4 in a row. Again, streaky team. Streaky team. 1 second we're scoring goals for fun. The next second we cannot keep pucks out of the back of the net. So 26, 20, and 4 as of February 1st. We are down into 4th in the division. We were that close to catching Tampa. Now we're in a wild card spot. Life comes at you fast. How quickly that changed. Our power play is at 18.6%. Our penalty kill at 72.9%. So, yeah, our power play is abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. It's crazy to me that we have some players scoring at the rates that they're scoring at, where we have 4 forwards who are at least a point per game mark. And while it does look like the power play was a bit more effective that month, it's kind of surprising that it was as anemic as it was through the opening few months of the season, as Samard and Ritchie aren't quite where I want them to be. You could argue calling up Jovanovski would be a safer move, and I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know if I want to go with any line changes or anything, though. You know, I have my tendency to tinker, but, you know, perhaps making that change and dropping people would be the better way to go. But Nasir Kostopoulos is up to an 82, which is nice. I'm not surprised. Of course, that could just be a morale thing, even though morale's off, which, you know, doesn't make much sense when you think about it, but it's how the game works. So, power play-wise, we're going to stick with it. We're going to stick with it. Screw it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. No tinkering. I've made 2 changes. Swapped wingers on the second and third line, and made the 1 change to the power play units. That's all I'm doing. The personnel stays the same. The personnel stays the same. Let's see how kind February will be to us, as we have scored 12 goals in 2 games. Decent. Very decent. It was 4-2 to Montreal. Boy, the Kings suck, and we beat them 6-2. The Lightning still in first. We are neck and neck with the Habs, who we do not play again this month after playing them last week. So that loss hurts a little bit, but we've only dropped points in 2 games thus far, and only had 1 game this month where we didn't walk away with a point. Make that 2 as we lose to St. Louis. You knew that was going to happen. The second I mentioned it. Because that's just how this game works. It can hear you, it can read your mind and your thoughts and your fears. Oh, it's a weird day. Anyway, 32, now 33 wins on the year, still in third place, within 3 points of the Lightning. This is going to be a dogfight for those top 3 spots over the last month and a half of the season. Hopefully we can get some big wins here against Florida and against Calgary to end things on a high note. Would you please hurry up and load? Thank you very much. We beat Florida 6-2. Can we beat the Calgary Flames to end the month? No, we very, very much cannot. 5 goals scored, and we still lose. That must have been a Grosek game. That's what we're calling it from now on. So we are currently in third, but the Lightning and Habs both have 2 games at hand. So no real guarantees that this is going to end up going overly well for us. But we're going to stick with it. I mean, 67 points, go figure for the Leafs. 67 points, they're in a wild card spot. So we have some breathing room here, thankfully. Alex Holtz is on pace for his best season to date. And again, we still have 4 forwards who are over a point a game at this point in the season. Secondary scoring, honestly, is looking pretty good. It's just Simard and Ritchie that I'm worried about, but they're on the third line scoring at a fourth line pace. So, actually, more than a fourth line pace. And then defensively, I mean, Melnick's the only guy struggling to really put up points. So you got to factor that in, too, as to why, maybe secondary scoring's a little bit down. Philippi Dagg's proven to be a solid option. Dominic Grosek, not so much. And that kind of scares me. And by kind of, I mean that really, really scares me. But hopefully Dagg can continue to carry the weight. I mean, heading into the playoffs, he's certainly going to be our first option. So let's sim through the month of March. This needs to go our way, and so far it is very much not. That drops us back into a wild card spot, as Tampa is nearly 10 points clear, and this is not looking good. We're going to be on pace to make the playoffs, but we are screwing ourselves out of a higher seed, which, again, does home ice mean anything in this series or in this game? Probably not. Let's be honest, probably not. It'd be nice if it did, but probably not. So maybe we shouldn't worry about it all that much. Overall, March wasn't that great for us. We have punched our ticket back to the postseason. I would assume we're back in the playoffs for sure. I mean, technically not, but we're pretty much back in the playoffs. And we're still within striking distance of claiming one of the top 2 seeds. Right now, though, I mean, if the season were to end today, it's a date with the Hurricanes or the Habs, who somehow caught and passed Tampa. They're 8 points clear atop the division right now. So we're playing a very, very bad Philly team. 3 points clear of Toronto. Can we get an important win? No, we cannot. If we piss away this spot, we're 1 point clear of the Leafs, and too far behind Florida and Tampa at this point, who, I mean, man, Tampa's continuing to fall off. We have 3 games left. Can we beat the Ducks? Please. Oh, my sweet Christ, we're going to throw this away. We are somehow ahead of the Leafs. But right now, it's a wild card spot. Confirmed. It's a wild card spot. And right now, it's shaping up to be Montreal. Can we beat Boston? Please. Sweet Jesus. The Leafs have jumped us. Where are we going to finish this season? We do win our final game of the year. The Leafs can still jump us again, though, if they win. They did not So we finish in the first wildcard spot in a season where potentially we could have won this damn division. It is going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning, who somehow caught up to Montreal using all those games at hand. We get to play Tampa, who were in first place in the division for the majority of the season. Feel free to place your bets on how you think that's going to work out for us. I know how I feel about it. Not well. Not well. That is my only response, as we finished in 12th with a 23% power play and a 75% penalty kill. So the power play certainly improved as the season went on. A quick look at the team here. So Alex Holtz killed it. Absolutely killed it. 40 goals, nearly 100 points. That is not a career high. He hit 99 points 4 seasons ago. But good stuff overall for Holtz. Up to nearly 1,000 career NHL games played already. 858 career points, still a minus player in his career. Grigorenko, again, slam dunk for 30, hit 49. A new career high in goals for Vyacheslav Grigorenko. 307 goals in 656 career games. A career high 87 points. Only 20 points on the power play too, which again is impressive. Just how strong that top line was at even strength. And Joakim Kemell, our third 40-goal scorer of the season. New career high for him in goals and in points. 820 games played for him already. And then Brody Appleby, who, again, is one of the best playmakers I've ever seen. 492 career games, 48 goals, 345 assists, as he ties a career high in points, but sets a new career high in total assists. Boris Nazarov, 57 points in the year. 40. Actually, here, let's take a look at everybody in this way. Nazarov, not quite what he used to be. I mean, he also is playing in a lessened role, but still decent 20-goal scorer for us, not bad. Isaac Benson, 43 points, 14 of them on the power play, so he definitely benefited well from being on the power play, and hopefully us allowing our youth to play on the third line, second and third line, is a move that would have benefited this team long term, as Nasir Kostopoulos is up to an 83, 43 points in his second season. He played 2 seasons ago. We sent him back down to the AHL where he dominated, and now this year, pretty damn good. He won't be up for the Calder though. Sergei Korobov, down from what he did last year, but it's not overly surprising. Slightly diminished role for him, still decent. Timofey Kavanov hit 39 points. Very happy with that. Career high for him, 11 points on the power play. Paul Cato, 34 points in his rookie year. I'll take it. It's not bad. Of course, again, you can ask the question of how well would Jovanovski have done in this role, but then the question is, okay, are we going to see, improvements amongst these younger players that we wouldn't have seen had we played them in the AHL, like they arguably should have been played, and people used to always say, hey, don't play your guys too early, don't rush them, and how the demand has rushed them, so who the hell knows? We'll find out if it works or not. But Samard, decent season with 24 points. Nick Ritchie hit the 20-point mark, which I'm pretty happy about as well from our first-round pick this past year. Defensively, again, you can debate how well Doughty would have done, but I don't have a single complaint about anybody here, from what I can tell. I mean, that Stewart-Melnick pairing, but Stamkos and Long, tremendous. They worked out extremely well. And the thing to keep in mind for Long, Stewart, and Stamkos, not one of them has power play time. So this team is dangerous at even strength. And then there's no question about it, Philippi Daig is going to be our starter heading into the playoffs. Dominik Grosek was not good. Very, very ungood was Dominik Grosek. So I don't know if we really have questions heading in to the playoffs. I mean, again, if we wanted to, we could absolutely change up some of the personnel involved, and what I mean by that, of course, is forward-wise. We could go and call up Jovanovski if we wanted to. Maybe not. Maybe he'd improve things. Maybe he wouldn't. And, of course, again, Doughty's there. Certain line changes that could be done if we decided that was, what was going to lead to us having playoff success. But again, we're playing a very good team in Tampa. It's going to be one hell of a challenge, I would say. But if this team plays to the best of their abilities, I think we're good to go. That's a pretty big if, though. And by a pretty big if, I mean that's a really, really, really big if. A really big if. As taking a look at goalies here, anything over a 9.15 is phenomenal. So anything over a 9.10 is decent. So Philippi Daig, just a little bit off of decent, I would say. And the Calder race is going to Dwight Ellis in Chicago. So that brings this season to a close. Again, we already know who we're playing. It's Tampa. Let me know. What do you think? Just leave the team as is. What changes would you make? And we're about to find out if this team can have playoff success. If not, we just got to keep dealing, and rolling with the punches as they come, as this team will continue to change year in and year out due to cap issues and players not wanting to re-sign.